Okay, last question. This came up in a group chat earlier today for me, and it was a question about not so much the young and the old players like you mentioned before, Gail, but this idea of this younger generation of players not having as much love for the game. I think it was sparked by this TikTok that was talking about, I think Sharif, Jalen Green, and Josh Christopher, like their senior year of high school before going to college. I think all of them came out after their first year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And the conversation was kind of around it being too early for Sharif and Josh more specifically, and how the younger generation of players is in a rush to get to the league. Do you all feel like the younger generation of players has the same love for the game that we've seen players in the past have and exhibit?
I think they have. I think they have the same love. I wouldn't question their love for the game, but I feel as if they're more so chasing the money rather than being in love with the process of developing. So, do I feel like they have the same type of love for the game? No,
Okay.
but I do feel like they love the game, and
I
I
like how you
think it's more so about the money, the stardom, and putting on that and being in uniform and being like, I'm him. We're in that I'm him culture.
Yeah.
And that's more so the feeling that they're chasing rather than falling in love with, the grind of getting better and developing. And a lot of people have taken pride in their college. Like a lot of guys was taking pride in going to Duke or playing for John Calipari or playing for Izzo. You don't see that same thing anymore. We're in the one and done culture as well. So, or sometimes you don't even go to college. You're going to the G League Ignite or you're playing overseas for a year. So a lot of these avenues that have opened up has made it seem like maybe they're not in love with the game, but I think it's more so not being in love with developing and taking pride in that step rather than not being in love with the game.
Yeah, I love how
Yeah.
you put that. I love how you put that. Gail?
For me, I think that they are there are still people that are like devoutly in love with the game. Being a coach and seeing certain players, there's still a few gems like that. But I feel like it's a lot for clout, and I feel like it's a lot for there was something. I would say clout for sure, but then also JJ Redick. We're missing sickos. Like there's no more KGs playing until their feet are bleeding. There's no more Kobe's that are, berating their teammates so that they can get a good practice. I mean, Jimmy Butler,
Not a young generation player though. That
yes,
was
Right.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Last of a dying breed where it's like we're losing recipes. As Michael Irvin once said, like we are not breeding the same hunger and desire where it's like, oh, I need this to live. Now it's like, okay, if this doesn't work, I could go set up my tripod at Target with a nice fit and still get my shit off. And
That's what
I
I'm
could
Gail, please.
still well, hey man, that's Wisconsin's finest.
Oh my gosh.
Madison, shouts out. I mean, like, there's other avenues that they can still access this clout. If you ball overseas, you still have access to some level of clout when you come back home. Like, I feel like whether or not you're a leaguer or whether or not, you're really providing generational money for your family, I feel like there's less of that because there's more access for your modern day hooper to get what they're wanting, which is slight fame, slight, fortune, and whether or not they make the league or not, I feel like there's a sense of reality that like comes upon a lot of guys, and then they're like okay with what they possess, but there's so much afforded to them now. But the Pat Bevs that are willing to train in Tim's, like that might be the last time we see this. Like everyone else might just be, cool with having their one or two commercials, have their 5-year stint, and then dip because like now it's just this isn't the end all be. This isn't the only thing that guys have now. I feel like the NBA back in the day was like It's the only way I'm really gonna make it. And now it's like, oh, I have other avenues to succeed. So yeah, I'd say like something's missing a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
oh no, we did we lose them?
Oh,
Oh,
no, there he is.
there you go.
I thought you answered your own question. Like, yeah, you lost.
No, I completely agree. I think the biggest thing is the idea
You
of
got a
being
smile.
content. Um, yeah, I think it's the idea of being content with the younger generation of players. I think getting to the league is like, okay, I got to the league and that's it. Nobody wants to get to the league and, like you said, Ashley, develop. Like nobody gets there and says, I want to be better. I want to be one of the greats. Like I don't think too many players in this generation come in really realizing the work it will take to become one of the greats. Like it takes work to get these individual accomplishment. It takes work to get championships. Like you rarely like are you going to be good enough coming into the league to be put into some system or just expect naturally to get to a place where you'll be one of the best players in the world. Like that's going to take work. And I think we're seeing less and less players in the groups that are coming out that are doing that for example. But do you feel like there are any players right now that you could see becoming all-time greats? Like all-time greats? Are there any players that y'all see, like younger players in the league that y'all see that in right now?
Paolo.
I
Paolo.
think Paolo has a chance as well.
I think it's him. Seeing him play in the pro-ams and how he was competitive with DeJounte that summer. That's something I like to see. Chet too, when he broke his foot, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
he was out there too, balling. Other than that,
I think Vic has a little bit to him. Like he every I mean, they're not really much a winning team right now, so it's hard to see like that competitiveness. But I remember that Phoenix game where it's like, he wants it, I don't think I've ever seen a 7-footer reach the bottom of their feet through stretching. So it seems like, he's doing what's necessary to make sure he has a long, healthy career. He's putting into his body. And like I think ever since he's came in, he's kind of known like I have something special. I can't waste this.
would Luca be considered one of the younger players too?
Yeah, Luca would. I think Tatum is still relatively young. I think this is only
Mhm.
year 7. So players like that. I think Luca has the potential. Luca definitely has potential to be top 15. Top 10 will more than likely depend on how much he wins.
Exactly. Yes.
Which brings me to really the other question is like for these young players and even for a player in general, what does it take to be in the all great conversation? Like, are we capping all great, like, all time greats off at like the top 15 ever? Like, is that the cap? Like, we know the top 10 is an exclusive class that nobody can 100% agree on.
Yeah.
But is top 15 or top 20 ever like the cap of accomplishing a certain amount in your career to be considered among the general greats?
I think that's fair. That's a fair number.
Okay. So what does it take to get into the top 20 all time?
I personally feel like it's your impact. Like if Joel Embiid keeps up his play but never wins, is he considered a top 20?
Right. It's like I don't know if there's
He'd have
any
to get some more MVPs.
set metric. It's like it's got to be a at least like 2 chips, 2 MVPs. A DPOY here. It takes like a little medley. You need it. I'd say at least 2 chips, 2 MVPs, and the
I'd
15 all.
say I'd say top 20, you at least gotta have a chip. At least one. Top 20, you at least gotta have one chip. Cause is Barkley top 20 all time? Like all players considered? Is he top
Might
20 all time?
he might be around like 25.
Yeah.
If he had a ring,
he'd be
that might be a little different. You know what I'm saying? So AI is probably top 20 all time, but think of AI with a ring or two.
Yeah.
Some people probably argue in top 10. So I think that the rings are important when that number gets smaller. So I think top 20, you need at least one chip to be top.
I think two chips, two MVPs, truly. And then, obviously some more extra seasoning and pepper. But other than that, it's like, okay, if you were able to attain two MVPs, odds are you're still probably top 10 for another strong. Wait, sorry. If you got two MVPs, there's still probably like another 10 years where you're top like 10, top 5 in the league. So I'm just trying to like do that math in my head of like what it takes, because there's how many years being blackballed from MVP where it's like you're too good, we're not gonna throw you in this race. Like, so if you can get two each, like think about who is in the top 10. Steph has 4 rings. How many MVPs does he have? Two. Who's our 10 on our list? It was like, I think 10 was almost like what?
10 was either Steph, Akeem, but Akeem has 2.
And two MVPs, no?
I don't know if he has 2, but I think he has a DPOY.
Yeah, DPOY, there's some extra.
So, you know what I'm saying? For Kobe to be as close to 10 as he is for some people, he has 5. So it's like 10 is crazy to crack. And so I kind of agree with you. At first I thought 2 rings and 2 MVPs for top 20 was tough, but in all honesty, you gotta have some hardware, like somewhere. Like you gotta, if you the less rings you have, the more individual, like I'm talking about 75% all NBA your career. Maybe you top something in scoring or assist or rebounding. You know what I'm saying?
DPOY, what I'm
saying? Like something like that without the ring. So yeah, but I think that's interesting because, just circling it back to the young players, I think we'll see like the later Luka gets into his career, the more he starts surpassing certain things and certain people, and if he's able to get a ring or two, those conversations will start, right? I think the same goes for a Tatum. I think that if Shea is able to back this ascension and this rise with some playoff moments, and I don't think Shea needs to like win right now, but Shea needs to stay on the ladder of, okay, we were in the play-in. Okay, I led my team to getting out the first round. Okay, I get to a conference finals. I'm consistently in, semifinals, conference finals. I get over that hump, get to the finals. Like he has time. He has time to do that. But I think we'll start to see, because even as the older players phase out, as we've been talking about, it's going to become the battles of these younger guys. It's going to be like, who will the East actually run through? That's up in the air. You can't say it definitively runs through Giannis. You can't say it definitively runs through Tatum. We don't know. You can't say it runs through Embiid either. But they're all candidates for that. Who does the West actually run through now? It's not definitively LeBron. It's not definitively Steph. So
yeah,
this is the time where the younger guys start to, plant their flag of like, nah, like the West runs through us. Like, the West got to go through this player. You're going to have to deal with this player to get out the West. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but I that list is small to me. I don't think there are a lot of players. Actually, I think you said it best. I don't think there are a lot of players that care about development, that are sickos in the sense of like, I want to learn the game of basketball. I want to become the best possible basketball player that I can be. Like Pat Bev, a sicko. Like he played 16 years in the league, but like when you hear him talk, call it annoying, call it whatever, but like he's a basketball junkie. Like the love for the game of basketball. We know, like, Jordan was a sicko, Kobe was a sicko, Giannis is a sicko. Like when it comes to basketball, I think JT's dedication is there. I definitely will put him in that conversation. Like when you look at some of these young players, I think Paolo's the only one in that like really, really young generation that stands out right now, though. Will we see it in a Cade? You know, will we see it in, I don't know, who's another player that's like in year 2 or like year 3? You know, these players aren't necessarily
Chat.
around.
What?
I want very badly to throw Anthony Edwards in there.
Yes, sorry. And he's definitely a sicko.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah. Oh, do you hear? Sorry, I brought it up in our text where it's like, young niggas versus oldies. Yeah. I mean, he's having so much fun with Kawhi. He's out there just having a ball. Just he is who he was in the movie.
Yes, no, he played himself.
100%. Like that's why I was just gushing for him over this summer, because like that man just is what he is. Like he is a hooper.
Miguel, you said you was doing what?
Gushing over him. Come on now. We know adjectives. We have a thesaurus. Don't you? I was about to say something crazier. Pause from the pause pod. We got it.
Look, no, we figured out a title before the end of the episode, because I struggled coming up with these.
There's a part that Akers is gonna clip, and he's gonna send his bed. Look at this man after he said blank, and he's about to. I know exactly what it is.